Billy Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. Almost a weekend, my friends. Hope you're having a nice Thursday afternoon if you're in the UK, or Thursday morning if you're stateside, or Thursday evening if you're the other side. If you're west side, no, east side. It's Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. 3 stories. One even one little rumour as well. Well, a couple of ins and outs of rumours, and one looking forward to the game against Man City at the weekend, as much as you can do in terms of looking forward to playing against the Premier League champions. We had Stephen from Esteemed Company on at lunchtime as the opposition chat, having a good old chat about his thoughts about Man City and the game ahead. We had a bit in the morning about talking about could there be an injury crisis at Man City in time for the West Ham game. And tonight, hopefully, we'll have Mark Ward on the channel. He has a foot in both camps, obviously, by having played both for West Ham and Man City. So that'll be live about 9 o'clock-ish. So keep an eye out for that. So the only way you don't miss it is if you hit that bell notification and select all. Then you're made aware of any time we're on live or putting any content out. Anyway, let's crack on. Let's talk about the main story about Pablo Fornals. Now, this was one of the sagas, if that's the right word to use, during the transfer window in terms of the outs, which we didn't really see, apart from obviously he should have been named the former captain, number 41, Skomaka, Vlasic. We didn't see maybe the exodus, which we were planning to potentially, with the likes of Ings, Antonio, Fornals, maybe Ben Rama, people like that. I think we've put a pin in that rather than necessarily put that to bed, if that makes sense. According to a report in Vamos Sevilla, Sevilla want to sign Fornals on a free transfer in January, basically, and when he enters his final 6 months of his contract. And according to the same article, Fornals' preference is a move to Sevilla. Writing on their website a couple of days ago, the Spanish news outlet reported that the 27-year-old playmaker was on the verge of a move to La Liga in the summer, but they couldn't make it work financially. Now, Director of Football Victor Octa, who is he was director of football at Dirty Leeds, wasn't he? He was Dirty Leeds. He's looking ahead to next summer and wants Fornals to sign a pre-contract agreement in January to join for free, with his current deal apparently due to expire in June 2024. Now, I mean, the article says, in terms of financial stuff, they couldn't afford to pay him his wages, but the probable get rid of people like Olivier Torres, Eric Lamela as well. Could bring in Fornals. They could bring Fornals because the money's going to be, saving the wages for them. However, what the article has failed to realise is that we have a year option on his contract. So effectively timed down to a contract at West Ham to 2025, the summer 2025. So yeah, I mean, there's no doubt he's a great player. We know the amount of passion. We know he's got real affiliation with West Ham fans. Unfortunately, he has been sort of shunted out onto the left-hand side when he's played, a position that I think renders him really ineffective, in all honesty. We know he's more suited towards the middle, but there's so much competition for that place, for a spot in that middle. With the likes of Paqueta, Alvarez, JWP, Souček. Now, despite the fact he should be ahead of Souček, the fact is Moyes will put Souček ahead of Fornals, and he always will. He's not, in Moyes' eyes, he's not a priority position now. Player now, I think Fornals, he's a squad player, and there's just too much competition, I think, from the central midfield positions. Obviously, and I said this before, he's got there's Euro 2024 in the horizon, and to have any hope of getting into that squad, which could maybe be his last chance, although maybe the World Cup in 2026, maybe it'd be 29-30 by the time that comes around. He would need regular football, and there's no chance whatsoever he's getting that at West Ham under the current regime. Let's be honest, he's not, unless there's a hell of a bad run of injuries. He's not going to be first choice. So it's going to be interesting what happens come January. Obviously, we won't let him go for free, but there may be there may be, something. I mean, I was surprised that he actually stayed, but by all accounts, particularly with Sevilla, it was due to financial. It just couldn't get it work financially. There's another other clubs who were interested in. Betis were interested in, obviously, with Manuel Pellegrini as their manager. I think Juventus were looking at him as well because of as a replacement to Paul Pogba. So there's no doubt he's a fantastic player. And what will be interesting to see is what happens in January. In all honesty, but just an interesting article which they failed to talk about the actual contract extension we have written into his contract. Right. In terms of, although the transfer window is closed, we can still sign a free transfer. And because we've got one person in our squad, we're starting to look forward and look at, it never stops. The scouting, it never stops. And according to Team Talk, West Ham are monitoring the situation of Pyramids FC winger Ibrahim Adel, who is a Egyptian sensation, apparently. We're one of several clubs keeping an eye on the 22-year-old, who is highly rated in Egypt. According to a report, Rangers had tried to and failed to sign the 22-year-old this summer, and there's expected to be even more competition for his signature heading into the January transfer window. Us, Newcastle, Birmingham, Aston Villa, Burnley, and other European sides are said to be keen on the versatile winger who can play on either flanks or up front. He's represented Egypt in the Olympics in 2021 and has made 4 appearances for his country at senior level. Elsewhere, it's not just Adele. Someone like you. No. That was like yesterday. That was like my show this morning when I spoke about, who was it? Josh Stones instead of John Stones. Anyway, elsewhere, West Ham, Chelsea, Brighton, Everton, Crystal Palace, and Sheffield United are all looking at teenage striker George Feeney, according to the Belfast Telegraph. The media outlet reported on its website on Monday that the 15-year-old has been scouted during the reserve games against Cliftonville. He currently plies his trade for Glentoran, where he represents the under-18s. We have a very strong Northern Ireland connection in terms of our youth side. Obviously, we brought in Sean Moore from Cliftonville in the summer, a 17-year-old. We've got the likes of Callum Marshall, Patrick Kelly. So could old Georgie be another one? His dad is it Wayne? Is it Wayne Feenan? Who used to play? He used to be a professional football player. I think he's the manager of Glentoran as well. But anyway, it's good to see that there's still, the wheels are turning in terms of looking at new talent we can bring in, particularly at the academy level. But also with Adele, she's not just got a good set of pipes in her; she's a very, very tricky winger apparently. And lastly, obviously, we're finally back in the swing in terms of Premier League. As I said, we've got 5 games now until the end of September, and then we've got another break in October, another international break in November, and obviously it looks like we've come relatively unscathed through the international break with everyone back, reporting for training. I think Aged and Alvarez are back to training today. I believe they did train today, but one of our players, Dinos Konstantinios Mavropanos, was in inspiring form for Greece, and obviously mentioning it because Holly forgot to mention Dinos anyway. Obviously he scored in Greece's Euro 2024 win against Gibraltar, and with that he's earned a place in the Sofa Score Team of the Week as a result. The Stats website revealed their highest European side on Twitter yesterday for the 6th round of qualifying, and the Hammers defender earned a 9.0 rating in Sunday's game. As I said, he scored 2 goals, both headers. He's JWP's wet dream, to be honest, 6'4", just put it at his end of score. And he was relatively untroubled defensively, not making a single tackle in 90 minutes. However, he did win 4 aerial duels, 3 ground duels. He scored twice, as they're both headers, and as I said, performed very, very well. What's going to be interesting to see is how what happens on Saturday. I mean, his stats for that game as well: 101 touches, 89% accurate passes, most of any player on the pitch. 94% pass completion rate as well. So we know he likes the pass. We know he likes the shot as well. Now, obviously, with those 2 goals, his first 2 in international football, which is fantastic as well. He's on fire, same as Kudus as well, coming back from 2 goals from his international exploits for Ghana. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens in terms of who gets put into the side, who doesn't get put into the side, who gets put on the bench. By all accounts, we came back with a clean bill of health. Particularly with Man City, you do not want to be a side which has any niggles. If we're putting someone in who's 80% against, I don't know, Jeremy Doku or Haaland or Foden, that's not. We need people to be 100%. So, if, for example, Aguerd comes back, he's a little bit jaded, maybe from the flight back, or Alvarez or anything like that, we've got the bodies there, it seems, to bring them in. Obviously, we know that Soufal trained. We know that JWP trained on Thursday. No, on Wednesday. Today is Thursday. On Wednesday. So those were the 2 sort of minor concerns. But if Soufal's not 100%, Dinos can play right back, can he? Could you imagine that? What a fucking line that would be! Jesus Christ! You got him at 6'4". You've got bloody. Particularly if they put Doku on the left hand side. Jesus, it'll be little and large. It'll be brilliant. You just ping balls. You get again just pinging balls to the right side and just watch him absolutely demolish Doku. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, after tomorrow, we'll bring you the sort of synopsis of the David Moyes press conference, and we'll find out more about who's fit, who's not fit, and then we'll give you our what's it called, predicted 11s and all that type of stuff. So that's it. If you're new around here, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a subscribe. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and check, because some people have messaged me to say that they were subscribed, they're not. So just check. If it's red, you're not subscribed. So here. If it's grey, you're subscribed. Carry on, regardless. Anyway, and take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay humble. Keep the faith, my friends. And come on, you bloody irons. Ta-ta. Bye-bye.